I want to do something different with this channel. It's always kind of just been where I do random, dumb, silly videos, which I still enjoy doing and I probably will do from time to time, but I thought it might be more productive to make it a little more focused in a couple of areas that I'm really into, or maybe I can provide some good information or hopefully at least some good content. We'll see. And that area that I'm going to focus this on is going to be about drone flight and photography, astrophotography, video, all of that kind of capturing of images by various different types of cameras. So to start that off, I want to talk a little bit about becoming a commercial drone pilot, getting your FAA Part 107 license, which I did. It's actually been almost 3 months ago. I've been planning to do this for a while. I was starting another YouTube channel, which I've been told I have too many of them, but I have a lot of hobbies. What are you going to do? And so I was focused on that at first. I had to get this little background set up, which still needs to be changed because I feel like the camera's too zoomed in on me. I'd like it backed out, but the background I have as is too narrow for me to do that. So I need to take it down, widen it, and then I can do a wider shot so you can actually see the table that I built specifically for doing these types of shows. The original reason was for a hot sauce review show that I do that's called, the channel is just called That Hot Sauce Guy. In fact, I just barely finished filming an episode a few minutes ago. So I got all that going, and then I decided, you know what, it's time to start talking about the drone stuff because it's fun and there's a lot of things to talk about, and Utah has a lot of really cool places to show. First, I want to talk about the Part 107. I took my test back on April 25th. I didn't think it was terribly difficult. In fact, not to brag, but, well, to brag a little bit, I got a 98. I only missed one question. But I feel like I should add that I was already a pilot. I already have my private pilot's license. I have an instrument rating. I don't fly much anymore. In fact, it's been like 13 or 14 years. I think it's been 13 years since I've flown. So I'm not current, but I have already taken that pilot test. I've taken the commercial pilot test, the written test anyway, not the flight test. I never got around to that. Anyway, that's a story for another day. The point of mentioning that is I already had a lot of experience with FAA rules and reading charts and that sort of thing, aviation weather. And I think that did help quite a bit in me doing so well on the test. There's a lot of companies that offer training guides and training courses and things to help you get through this. Some of them are cheap. Some of them I think are overpriced. Depending, how do I say this? I don't think they're all necessary. I mean, it depends on the person and how you learn and what your experience happens to be with the topic of aviation in the United States. But there's just know there's a lot of options out there, and you can take the test without going to one of those, without paying for these expensive courses or anything. But in considering that, you also have to factor in that the test costs $150 to take. If you fail it, you're out the $150. When you come back to take the test again, you have to pay that again. So if you feel unsure in your knowledge, maybe it's worth spending a little money on some of these courses. I personally haven't really looked into them. I know there's a drone podcast that I listen to called Drone U. That's by a group out of, I think they're in New Mexico, and I think they have a lot of training materials. I haven't checked their stuff out, but I do like the information that they share on their podcast, so that might be one way to go. For me, all I did was I bought this training guide on Amazon. I think it was like $15. I'll post a link to it. It goes through all of the different categories of the questions. It has a lot of sample questions. If you haven't taken an FAA test before, it's just multiple choice questions, which depending on how you look at it, that could be good or that could be bad, because some of the answers are worded in such a way that they try to trick you a little bit to make sure you are really paying attention. Anyway, this is what I used. I read this book in, I don't know, like a week, and then went and took the test, and I was done with the test in an hour, and like I said, I only missed one. So it's not that hard. I don't think it's that hard. But like I say, I've got like 300 flight hours of actual flight in a real airplane, and I've taken a lot of FAA tests. And that probably does give me an advantage. Anyway, I got that done, and part of the reason for it, there's a couple reasons why I wanted to get the Part 107. It's not something that you have to get if you just want to fly recreationally. If you want to fly to potentially earn money, whether that's filming videos for real estate agents or doing building inspections or stock footage, any of those things, anything, even for a YouTube channel, if you have a monetized YouTube channel, that counts as a furtherance of a business. You have to be Part 107 to be legal to do that. And I like to do YouTube stuff, so that was one reason there, in the hopes that, maybe eventually that this channel, like my woodworking channel, will be monetized and be able to make some money on this. But I also do a lot of stock footage. I wanted to be able to sell some of the things that I capture, because like I said, Utah's a great place for drones as far as the environment goes. Like, there's just a lot of really pretty places here. You do have to be careful because you're not allowed to fly in national parks, and we do have a lot of military airspace here that you can't fly in. But there's plenty of national forests and certain state parks and stuff that you can fly in. And I'll do another episode eventually that'll talk more about places you can and can't fly. And I'll get into that in a later episode. But some of the things I want to talk about on this channel, I want to talk more about like the FAA charts that are available. These aren't required to have as a drone pilot, but I do think they're very handy just to give you a better idea of what traffic is going to be above you. So I always take these with me for wherever I'm going to be flying. I like to bring a flight radio with me so that I can listen for air traffic just in case there happens to be something in my area. And that's not something that is a required piece of gear to have, but I like to be on the safe side. And I think while we're at it, I think that's a good thing to talk about, just because in a lot of places I think some irresponsible drone pilots have given drone flight altogether a bad name, and I think it's in our best interests as folks that do want to be able to legally fly to be an ambassador for that and to try to follow the rules as best as you can and educate people that don't know anything about drone flight, about why you do it, what some of the rules are, why they don't need to worry about you trying to peek into their windows or anything like that. I think there's a lot of value that can come from educating the public. And having this kind of stuff, I think, helps to make you a safer pilot. And I'll do a video specifically about how to read these types of charts and how I use them. Oh, here's something else kind of cool. This just came in the mail a few days ago. If you're wondering, if I take the Part 107, do I have to carry this piece of paper around to prove that I'm actually certified? The answer is no. Once you file your paperwork with the FAA, after a few weeks, and it'll take a while. I think for me, it took over 2 months before I got it. But you will get a remote pilot license in the mail that you need to have on you anytime you're flying as a Part 107 pilot. That's another important thing. Just because you have a Part 107 license does not mean you always have to fly as a Part 107 pilot. If you're just flying for fun, you don't have to have your license with you. I prefer to have it just because I try to think of it as always flying Part 107, just because if I get some really good footage that I might want to use here on this channel or my woodworking channel, or, I mean, I guess it wouldn't really make sense on my hot sauce channel, but still, if I got some good footage for that, or more commonly, the stock footage stuff, if I got something that I thought was really cool for that, I want to be able to sell it. I want to be able to monetize it because this thing was expensive. I fly the Mavic 2 Pro, and it might look a little silly right now. That's because the batteries are on the charger. For my day job, normally I work from here in my basement, but tomorrow I'll be in Salt Lake City, and I thought if I'm going to be up there, I should take my drone with me because there are some places you can fly there, and it would just be interesting to get some views of the city, and I don't know. That's an area I haven't flown in. Well, that's not true. Most of my flight training was done out of Salt Lake, but that was with a fixed-wing airplane, not a drone. So it'll be my first time flying the drone up there. This is what I use. I use the Polar Pro filters on the front. I went with the Mavic 2 Pro instead of just the Mavic Pro or the Mavic 2 Zoom, specifically because of the camera. Like I mentioned, I do a lot of this for stock footage. I wanted to have that higher color depth. I don't remember if it's 8-bit or 10-bit, but whatever it is, it's really good. The D-Log, all that fun stuff, so that I could get the best image possible and hopefully improve my chances of selling some of that footage. And in another video, I'll talk more specifically about the things I like and don't like about this drone and how I specifically have it outfitted for the type of stuff that I do. I guess that's the intro to this show. If you want to fly for profit, get your Part 107. It's really not that hard. If you just want to be a better educated, not flying for profit remote pilot, get your Part 107 anyway. There's a lot of really good information in there, and I think it will make you a better, a safer, and a more knowledgeable pilot. One of the other things, too, that I want to mention, so as part of the new direction I'm trying to take this channel, I will do sort of, it'll be kind of vlog style, but not daily. I have a real job and a life and kids, and that's not something I could do, or something that I'm not even interested in that. But when I take this out to fly, I'm going to bring the cameras with me, and I'll talk about what my flight preparation is like for that specific flight, checking the weather, all those sorts of things, checking the airspace. This is actually a chart for Hawaii, not Utah. But then I also want to show some of the footage that I got, maybe cover some of the editing that I do. I don't know, a lot of stuff like that. I don't know, that's kind of the direction I want to take this channel. Talk about drone flight, talk about time-lapse photography. I'll touch on that too. So what led me to drone stuff is actually time-lapse photography. I'll talk a lot about that, the different gear that I use, the settings I use, and I'll do that same sort of vlog adventure type video with that, where we'll pick a specific place to go out and film. I'll show how I record the time-lapse, how I edit the time-lapse, all that fun stuff. If you tried these coconut water Mountain Dew Kickstart things, they're so good. I know soda's bad for you, but these are good. Well, that's what this channel is going to be about. So if you are interested in drones, drone flight in Utah, time-lapse photography, hyperlapse photography, all that sort of thing, subscribe. That's what this is all going to be about. As I move forward, if you have any questions, suggestions, feedback, leave me a comment, and maybe everybody can learn something. So until next time, insert catchy catchphrase here.